Welcome to the LA Business Podcast. Our guest is Benson and Tsai. Today on the LA Business Podcast, we're talking about pizza. Who doesn't love pizza?
Welcome to the LA Business Podcast, your destination to hear stories of how businesses grow and scale. I'm Robert Brill, CEO of Brill Media and the host of this podcast. Now, let's jump right into this week's interview.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of the LA Business Podcast. Today our guest is Benson Tsai. He's the CEO of Stellar Pizza, and Stellar Pizza uses cutting-edge technology and advanced robotics to create really great pizza. An automated touchless machine offering a one-of-a-kind technology-driven culinary experience that bakes and serves pizza in under 5 minutes. That sounds very futuristic. Thanks for being with us today, Benson. So as the song goes, how did we get here?
Well, thanks, Robert. Thanks for having me. How did we get here? It's been a fun little journey to get to where we are today. So I am the CEO of a pizza company now, but I was previously designing battery and power systems for spaceships at SpaceX, and then before that, I was designing the battery systems for the Lucid motors. Now it's this luxury vehicle, and have spent many years in the electric vehicle industry as well. So it's been a weird journey.
Are you an engineer?
I am an engineer by I have a degree in engineering, in chemical engineering, a master's degree in chemical engineering. Yes, that's correct.
Wow. You said a master's degree in which? I didn't hear it.
Chemical engineering.
Of course. Why not? That sounds so hard. Okay.
So chemical engineering, for those who aren't in the know, is the scale up of chemical processes, and that's sort of, I got excited about chemical engineering because it's really, I used to watch a show called Unwrapped in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And it was all about touring food factories that would make cookies by the millions, right? And I was like, I want to do that. And so I've always been interested in the food technology, food manufacturing space since I was in college. And then I got distracted by a 10-year stint in battery systems.
What's something interesting you learned about working at Lucid and SpaceX?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about being a part of such amazing companies is that it really just a small group of people can have a large impact on the world, right? And when I was at Lucid, we were very, very small, and now it's a few thousand people, but it's hopefully changing the course of human history and
100%.
affecting the accelerating the transition to electric vehicles. And then at SpaceX, it was just the pace of engineering and the level of ownership that you have while working for Elon Musk is incredible. I felt so empowered to get what I needed to get done, and I'm sort of channeling that same methodology, that same ideology into building this pizza company.
Okay, so tell us about Stellar Pizza. What's the concept here?
Yeah, the concept. So it's a pizza company powered by automated mobile restaurants. So the idea that you can have a restaurant on wheels, similar to a food truck, but there's no humans needed in the preparation of food. So there's still a driver, but the idea is to have these
for
trucks.
The moment. There's a driver for the moment.
For the moment, self-driving technology is not my problem to solve. I always joke.
Got it.
I joke that I've started the self-cooking car industry.
I love it.
And the idea is to have, your favorite food, pizza, be freshly made as close as close to you as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that will be, a better, faster, and more affordable experience for every single consumer out there.
So how far into this business are you?
Yeah, we've been at it for about 2.5 years, designing the technology, perfecting the technology, iterating on everything, and we do plan on launching end of summer.
Okay. And what's like when you're launching, like what geographies are you looking at?
We'll be in Los Angeles. We're still figuring out exactly where we'll be, what areas,
Mhm.
what neighborhoods we'll be surfacing once we start. But it will
Mhm.
be it will be a focused area, so that we can ensure every customer, and every initial customer gets the best experience possible.
So basically you'll have, so is it correct that you'll have food trucks that are serving pizza,
Yeah,
5 minutes, totally autonomously cooked pizza?
yeah. It's food that is freshly made, as close to you as possible, and the trucks will be parked in neighborhoods and parking lots, and you'll be able to walk up and order on our app. You'll be able to get it delivered. The first year will be fun.
And so what are some of the challenges you're facing? Like, well, let me first ask you, what have you been working on with Stellar Pizza for the last 2 years? Is it the technology?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So the company is currently 30 people, and 24 of the 30 are ex-SpaceX employees. And so we've
That's
got a team of we've got a team of rocket scientists building the future of the restaurant industry, and we've paired that with our chief marketing officer is Debbie Goldberg, who is one of the co-founders of Fresh Brothers Pizza here in Los
Hmm.
Angeles. And so we're a team of rocket scientists, looking for restaurant industry veterans to help make Stellar Pizza a success.
And what is your like end goal here? Like why does the world need automated pizza?
Yeah, I would say that the world just needs affordable pizza or affordable foods. The automation is secondary.
Ah,
It is cool, but it's, if you look at, the price of televisions over the past 10 years, it's gone down. And why is that? It's not because we have people there assembling the TVs by hand, right? And so I look at automation and robotics as one of the only ways we can keep the cost of living low here in the United States, and in the world. So ultimately, it's just the automation is there in service of the customer.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you and so how do you ensure that the food is fresh? Like I imagine, I don't know what I imagine. I worked in food service when I was
Yeah.
a kid in at Universal Studios, and it was tough work and challenging, and there's always like the food safety concerns you gotta
Yeah.
like be concerned about. And so tell us about like how you ensure the food is safe and
Fresh.
fresh.
Yeah. I mean, so first and foremost, the ingredients, the raw ingredients, get loaded into the vehicle in the morning, and then the truck goes out, and the truck can store 440 pizzas worth of ingredients. There are refrigerators on board. We'll be able to keep everything at food safe temperatures. Um, the freshness comes from being able to, once an order comes in through the app, or the machine just knows to start making the pizza, and knows when the pizza should be picked up or when it will be delivered, and so it will time everything and make sure that it makes a delicious pizza that's ready
Mhm.
for pickup or delivery, at the right time. And so it's really using software and automation to do what would be called just in time preparation of the food, without any humans being confused over what order is when and where and why.
So someone places an order, let's say through Postmates, or someone walks up to the truck. Wow, so it's actually that's really interesting. The mobile kitchen. Like I understand it and I get it, but I feel like there's some additional implications there that actually just the fact that it's a mobile kitchen that you don't have. That's that's interesting. So like you can create batch orders and go to like parts of town. I don't know if that even makes sense,
Yeah.
but like
Well, so one use case would be, say the firefighters are fighting the fires that occur in Los Angeles every few. We could drive a truck up and just crank out pizzas, right? It's literally a minimal restaurant. Like, all you need is a driver, and no one needs to be trained on how to make food, right? So that will ensure consistency in our product and freshness in our product.
will the driver know how to like tend to the machine?
No, so the beauty
Or
of having the
Mhm.
robotics on a mobile platform is that if there are any issues, we'll be able to. Usually, we resolve all of them remotely, through the internet. But the other idea is to just send out another truck and bring that truck home. There's no need to send out a service person to that location.
And and so are you looking at like places where businesses are going to be located? Are you going to be focusing on like tourist area? Like where do you think you'll roll out the trucks?
Yeah, the advantage of having everything in a mobile platform is also to follow demand throughout the day. So we can be at office parks at lunch when people are working, and then go into neighborhoods in the evenings and offer pizza services to their families, right?
Mhm.
And then go to a college campus at 10 p.m. and then at 2 a.m. show up at the bars right when they're closing. There's a lot of advantages to how we can operate and utilize our mobile restaurant.
I'm looking at your trucks. I'm seeing a news article on
Yeah.
ktla.com, and I see your truck looks exactly like your website. It looks really well designed.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So, okay, that's really interesting. And your pepperoni pizza looks delicious as well. I like it. So how's the marketing looking at for this? Like, obviously you're getting some really great press. Um, how do you look to grow awareness for the business?
Yeah, that's still a lot. We haven't launched yet, so a lot of those
Yeah.
details I can't necessarily talk about. But the idea is just we want to be a part of the community. When you're a restaurant, uh, we want to be at community events. We want to be at schools servicing. Like we can show up at a fundraiser and just crank out pizzas too, right? A lot of us here at Stellar Pizza really want to give back to the community, and so that is one angle of our marketing that we will be leaning on heavily.
Are there other, like, not necessarily for pizza, but are you finding, I imagine you're paying attention to the marketplace as a whole. Like, do you find that there are other companies that are like, do you see yourself as part of a trend in kind of changing the way food is made?
Um, yeah, I do see us as part of that trend. There's a lot of automation in your existing fast food restaurants these days. Like if you take a peek inside your McDonald's drive-through while you're picking up your food, you can
Mhm.
see that when a drink order comes in, there's no employee actually putting that drink order. Like a cup gets automatically dispensed, it gets moved to the right fountain or whatever, and so automation is already a big part of all of our lives. You open your pantry and all of that food is made with robots and machines, right? And so I would say that we're part of a trend of bringing the machines closer to the point of consumption,
Mhm.
but automation in food is nothing new.
Why did you choose food trucks rather than a brick and mortar location, right? Because this could have profound impacts on the cost of running a restaurant too.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's nothing that prevents us from taking the wheels off and setting up shop in a brick and mortar, but we really want if the end game is getting people pizza without changing their habits, without having them, go to a restaurant. Most people eat pizza at home or at an event, right? So delivery is a core part of the pizza industry, and that's why we wanted it all to be mobile.
So I imagine you're considering, you look, are you looking at your business? You're not, if you have to characterize your business, you're probably much more of a technology business or an automation business rather than a restaurant business, right?
I'd say that that's not true. We
Okay.
do plan to be a restaurant, and we're a restaurant powered by technology,
Right.
but and there is interesting technology under the hood, but ultimately we want to provide pizza to people. that's
Well, I
that's
say
my
that
vision
because,
for the
like,
game.
if you could, if this, like, you could revolution, like, your technology could be inside like a Domino's pizza or
It
a
could,
or
yeah.
like you guys could be end up being the foundational layer for the food revolution. And I feel like that's, I don't know, lots of
Yeah,
big multiples for technology companies is what I'm saying.
that might be that could be the 10-20 year vision, but my passion is making sure that we use the technology right to get people pizza.
Did you guys do a lot of like food research? Did you eat a lot of good pizza in the last 2 years? Like testing out like,
Yeah, too much pizza. I've go around doing a lot of taste testing, but we also get to bring in pizza consultants who help with our recipe, help with our process. It's been an incredible adventure learning more and more about the pizza industry, learning about the food industry.
So what's something you learned from, like, you said you brought in the executive, I don't recall her name, from
Debbie Goldberg, yeah, from
Debbie
Fresh
Goldberg
Brothers.
from Fresh Brothers. Like, what's something interesting you learned from her that you just didn't expect, or you thought was like new and interesting?
Yeah, well, the most interesting fact that I learned from her, like first week in talking with her, I think I found out that kids actually drive a majority of pizza sales, right?
Mm.
Halloween is the biggest pizza day of the year, uh, because, as you can imagine, parents are about to take these kids out to go beg for candy. You're not going to cook an elaborate dinner for them, right? And so in learning that kids, and I was a kid once, right? And I loved pizza, and it just made a lot of sense. But
Right.
that was being told that, I was like, oh, that's interesting, right? And
Do
just
you find
yeah.
do you find that these pizza executives or restaurant executives have a different worldview, like different worldview than like you as an engineer? Like, how does that?
It's interesting. I feel like restaurateurs, a lot of people who start restaurants, they come from all sorts of different backgrounds. So it's hard
Mhm.
to say, yes, we do have different worldviews because my background is technical and from the engineering world, but I don't know. At the core, people are all like, we're genuinely interested in pizza and spreading the joy that pizza brings, and so I connect with restaurateurs because they want to serve people food. They don't want to deal with the finances. They don't want to deal with accounting. A lot of people who open restaurants just want to share their food with people, and that's I'm sort of in the same boat as them.
How long have you experienced this like love of pizza?
Since
Like,
I
how
was
did
a
that
kid.
yeah, how did that develop? Like, when did you realize in your life that you're like, all right, I think pizza is gonna be my thing?
Well, I think so. My parents are immigrants from Taiwan, and they moved here in the early '80s and opened a fish and chips restaurant. So food
Hmm.
has already always been a part of my life. I also love just going and finding. I'm a big foodie, and when I left SpaceX, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and it was clear that I wanted to combine my passion, like as I explained earlier in the interview, food manufacturing has always been of interest to me since college, and so it was just combining my passion for food with my background in hardware engineering and raising venture capital.
So what does the next 1 to 2 years look like, for you and Stellar Pizza? Like, I understand you're rolling out, you're going to market, but, like, tell us about how that looks and
Yeah, so we're going to be launching this year, and it's going to be operating. We're going to be operating in a small community in LA and really making sure that everything works great and our customers are happy. And so the next year or two, we're going to build probably 20, 30 vehicles and operate and slowly take over Los Angeles.
how customized do these vehicles have to be? Like, can you get an existing truck and, like the technology inside, or does it have to be built inside the truck in a different, like, is it static in the truck?
No. We can use as long as the truck has a back area. Like our technology fits into a box, right? We have a magic box that makes pizza, and
Amazing.
we can put it on the back of any vehicle, obviously within reason, right?
Right.
But no, it's we're buying standard trucks, and at some point we might move over to electric trucks. Given that I started an electric truck company, it's pretty straightforward to do.
Very cool. So you're gonna go to market in Los Angeles. You said 20 or 30 trucks? Is that
Yeah. Hmm.
okay? And how will you know when you've found, like, the success you're looking for? Is it like, what are the metrics you're looking at for, like, success? When
Yeah. It's really, I mean, for any restaurant, it's retention, right? Like you want the same customers coming back that you can continue to make happy. And so success to me looks like uh, returning customers. That's sort of what any restaurant looks for. Uh,
Hmm.
we're not trying to be a gimmick with our robotics at all. We're trying to build a loyal following. And so that's really ultimately retention of customers is going to be key.
Very cool. And so Benson, as we wrap up here, how can people find Stellar Pizza?
Yeah, our handle is at Eat Stellar Pizza, and so we're available on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Please DM us there.
Very cool. Benson Tsai, CEO of Stellar Pizza. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the LA Business Podcast. If you like what we're doing on this podcast, please consider subscribing on Apple or Google Play, leaving a 5-star review, and sharing with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations for a guest you'd like to hear on this podcast, please email me, robert@brillmedia.co. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.